Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook, and I'm Amy, and on today's show we are going to learn to make berry cobbler. Now there are a lot of different definitions of a cobbler, and I'm not going to try to analyze the various views on what is in fact a cobbler. Whatever you want to call this dish does not really matter, because to me it is only one thing: delicious. This recipe is unique because you make a simple batter that will go at the bottom of your baking pan. This batter will be covered with berries and sugar and then drowned in hot boiling water. Then you put the dish in the oven and something amazing happens. Over the course of baking, the cake comes to the top and the water goes to the bottom and makes this sweet, unbelievably delicious berry syrupy goodness. Now, you're going to have to trust me, because when you pour the liquid over the top, you're going to say to yourself, that Miss Amy is crazy. But hold on, because magic is going to happen in that oven. You will become a rock star when you present this dish to your family and friends. Okay, so you want to get a decent sized baking dish for your cobbler. I'm using one of my favorite baking dishes. It is French porcelain from Rival. It is kind of expensive. It's about $60, but it's one of the nicest pieces of bakery that I own. It's called a plate round, and it is about 60 ounces. I was a little concerned about using this berry recipe in this white bakeware because I thought it would stain. But after using it several times, it cleans up beautifully. So the first thing we have to do is we are going to grease the pan with a little Crisco. This will ensure that nothing sticks to your pan. Okay? We are going to preheat the oven at 425, and now let's get to making the cake batter. So in the bowl of your stand mixer, we are going to put on the paddle attachment, and we are going to cream together 1 cup of sugar. We're going to put that in, and 4 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to cream that on a pretty low setting. Okay, so when your butter and sugar mixture is mixed together, it's going to look kind of like this. And we will put in the next set of ingredients. Okay, so next we're going to add 1 cup of milk into our beaten butter and sugar mixture. So go ahead and turn the mixer on low and pour the milk in slowly. And then go ahead and beat that in. If you have to at all scrape down your bowl, go ahead and do it at this time, just to get any of that excess butter, sugar mixture down in there. And go ahead and give it another whirl. Okay, now we're ready for our dry ingredients. Okay, so now we're going to combine the dry ingredients. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to add to that 4 teaspoons of baking powder. This is going to give us a nice, thick, fluffy batter for the top of our cobbler. And we're also going to put in, for a little taste, we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt. This is a half a teaspoon, so we're going to go ahead and put 2 of those in. And we're going to stir those to combine just to make sure all that is mixed in to the flour. Okay, and then we're going to add it to our dry mixture. So the way we're going to do this is sort of slowly. We're going to do maybe a half a cup each time, and so it gets thoroughly incorporated. So we'll go ahead and add some flour. Don't turn it up too high, otherwise you'll get a face full of flour. Let that incorporate. And go ahead and put in another batch. Let that incorporate. Whoops. And we're going to go ahead and put the rest in. And we're going to let that incorporate. You may have to, like before, scrape down so you get any excess flour off the sides and into your batter. And then go ahead and mix it in. One thing you'll notice is you're going to get a really thick, luxurious batter from this. And that is exactly what we want. So now we are ready to assemble the cobbler. Okay, now that we have our batter all mixed together, we're going to go ahead and take it off the mixer and just give it a little whirl. This batter gets really thick really fast because we put a lot of baking powder in there. And baking powder, as soon as it touches that liquid in there, it just pretty much takes off. So, and this is double acting baking powder, which means that we're going to get some lift on it when it combines with the other ingredients, and then we're going to get another lift on it when it hits that heat in the oven. So that's sort of how double acting baking powder works. Okay, so your batter's in here, it's really thick, so you're probably going to have to use a knife to spread it around. And get it all even throughout the pan. It's really thick batter, so it's kind of difficult, but once you get it all spread out, we're ready for the berries. Okay, now it's time to put on the berries. So I have 3 cups of mixed berries. You can use any kind of berries you want. You can use frozen, you can use fresh. These happen to be frozen. I've got them in a big 3-pound bag from my local warehouse club. And it contains raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries. And so we have 3 cups, and those we are just going to sprinkle over the top of our batter. And spread them out here a little bit. Be careful what you touch on these because they can stain. Okay, so we are going to now cover it in sugar, and don't be scared because I'm warning you that I'm putting a lot of sugar on here. But, you know, this serves, you know, up to 6 people, so, you know, that's just how it is. So we're going to put on 1.5 cups of sugar. And this sugar is very important because it is going to go to the bottom with these berries, and it is going to be so good. It's going to be syrupy, and it's going to be delicious. Okay, so I have 2.5 cups of water that I've just microwaved, so it is nice and piping hot, and we are going to pour this over the top of the cobbler. Now don't worry, because this is going to come out delicious. It looks a little strange, but just be careful because it is very hot. And now we're going to take the cobbler over to the oven. And we have this preheated at 425. Let me actually get a second mitt on here in case I burn myself. And we're gonna go ahead and put this in the oven now. And this is gonna bake 30 to 40 minutes depending on the type of pan you used and really how calibrated your oven is. So 425, 30 to 40 minutes, and we are going to have a very nice dessert. You will know it's done when you do the toothpick test and the center is cooked. It's going to be nice and brown. That batter is going to be at the top and the berries are going to be at the bottom, and we're going to let it cool, and then we will be ready for dessert. Okay, so our cobbler is ready to come out of the oven. It's brown, it's bubbly, and it's ready to be eaten. So let's grab it out of the oven. Be very careful because it's still a little liquidy at the bottom. You're going to want to let it sit for a little while to let the juices firm up. So we're going to let it sit for maybe 15 minutes, which is a very difficult task to do around our house. And all the juices underneath are going to firm up and we'll be ready to eat. Okay, so we're ready to serve up the cobbler. So we are going to take a nice big helping because we've been waiting a while for this. It needs to cool a little bit. I didn't really let it cool that much because you know how we are around here. We're ready for it. And still piping hot. And I like my cobbler with a little bit of whipped cream. So let's take a taste. It's nice and warm. Get some whipped cream, some of the cake, and a little bit of the berry. Delicious. If you like this recipe, please leave me a comment and let me know how you enjoy it, and subscribe to my page. You will really, really like this, and your guests will really like it too.